function with our new online members only letters of credit, as well as our easy to fill PDF form that we have out there. All right, and just to get started here, we kind of just want to tell you guys a little bit about ourselves. Again, my name is Derek Layton. I began working in the banking industry in 2014 at a local community bank here in Topeka, Kansas. I joined Federal Home Loan Bank of Topeka in 2018 as a lending analyst on the desk. And then in January of 2020, I got promoted to lending officer. And kind of what my job here at the bank is to provide education to our members, as well as talk about current and prudent funding strategies, help you guys make your borrowing decisions or funding decisions.
Yeah, and I'm Michael Young. I've been on the desk for a little over 6 years now, or 5 years. I've been at the bank since 2012 and been in nearly all areas in the bank, accounting, enterprise risk management, and then moved down to lending. I was promoted senior lending officer in 2018, and then similar to Derek, I continue to work with members on strategies that fit their funding needs and help educate them on future reasons why they would want to use our products.
Kind of every webinar that I do like to just start off, by letting you guys know our mission statement. And as you can see here, that FHL Bank Topeka makes a difference by providing reliable liquidity and funding to help our members build our strong communities. And along with that, with Michael being the senior lending officer and I a lending officer, our goal is to be your trusted financial partner. We are always in constant communication with all of our members throughout our district, talking about, what strategies are working for them and what aren't. That way we can kind of help all of our members. And even though this webinar today is about letters of credit, we do offer a wide array of products here at the Federal Home Loan Bank. You guys can always, feel free to reach out about any of our other products, and we'd love to talk to you about those. And then next, we kind of just want to kick off the webinar today. I was kind of going over what a public unit deposit is. I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with this, but essentially, it is anywhere from your school districts to your towns, your cities, treasuries, anywhere from, and then up to anything from hospitals.
Just similar on that, it's pretty basically any of your depositors that accept local and state or federal income.
Yep, for sure. And then as you can kind of see here as the bottom bullet point here, is the FDIC, they do require any public unit fund over the 250,000 threshold mark. It is also required to be insured, which is why letters of credit are so important in today's banking industry. And then next we'll kind of go on to the the two common forms of collateralization that we see for our PUDs. And again, a lot of you are probably already familiar with this, and honestly, you're utilizing both of these forms. The first one there, as you can see, is pledging securities. Historically, that has been the most widely used method to secure your PUDs. But throughout the years, we have been seeing our letters of credit just increase throughout our district and all the other, Federal Home Loan Bank systems as well. A lot of the members and other banks are starting to use these letters of credit, and that's just because, beneficiaries are starting to prefer the method. It's a lot cleaner, a lot simpler, a lot easier. It's one of the great benefits about our letters of credit. And then just kind of go into on this next slide here, but it's becoming more popular due to some of the downfalls of pledging securities. And kind of as you can see here on this slide is that, it does encumber highly liquid assets, decreasing liquidity ratios. And I will admit, liquidity ratios probably aren't a huge concern for you guys right now. But, in the past and probably here in the near future, you will want to be prepared for that. And as I alluded to on the previous slide, it does require monitoring market values by the depository and the beneficiary, which can be time consuming and somewhat annoying. Constrains your balance sheet. And then securities are, again, often called or prepaid, which might lead you to scrambling, trying to find a new security to help secure your public unit deposits. And again, kind of the securities you have to use to secure your public units, you have to be very specific, very highly liquid assets, which oftentimes, only comes in lower yielding securities, which might not be, the best security you get put on your guys' balance sheet.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that last point, I think it's very smart now not to limit yourself in what type of securities you can buy when yield on them is so low. So if they can hold similar risk characteristics, but maybe they're not eligible, it might be wise to go that route and revisit the investment policy.
Yeah, that's a great point, Michael. All right, and then next, so kind of got over, what a PUD is, a couple ways to collateralize them. Next, we're going to kind of go into what exactly is a letter of credit. And again, as you can see here, it's a financial instrument offered to secure your PUDs. We do have the FHL Bank of Topeka has that AAA rating, which a lot of the beneficiaries are going to want. It uses the highest short-term credit rating to ensure safety and security of funds, which, again, makes the letter of credit widely accepted. I know a lot of state treasurers really prefer our letter of credit just because of that credit rating. And, it is very unlikely that a depository will fail. But, we all are in the banking industry, so we all kind of have to prepare for the what if. But so if the depository did fail, the public unit could immediately draw on the letter of credit to get, their funds back from the failed depository. And then the letter of credit is also, is used to facilitate with residential housing finances, community lending, and then also your asset liability management. And then I will go over to Michael here, and he's going to just give you guys a couple of reasons of why you should use a letter of credit and some of their benefits.
Yeah, and I think we've seen a lot of this has definitely come up in the last few years with operational efficiencies, and that's where a lot of this comes in trying to pick and choose through securities, especially in this low rate environment. But first and foremost, in order to meet the eligibility requirements to pledge, the securities must be very liquid, like Derek insinuated to earlier. And so they're typically lower yielding and maybe not the best fit for your balance sheet. You have another option if it's not. There's no more monitoring market values or worrying about pledging and releasing securities. That's a big one now because the operational efficiencies around that, plus the fees associated with doing so, really makes it substantially high, especially if you have smaller limits on the size of securities you'll purchase at a given time and very high level of PUDs.
For sure. And then kind of as one thing I want to mention, or go back to as well, is some of you might have actually talked to us on the phone here recently, as Michael and I are kind of calling some of our members, just talking about letters of credit. Some of the feedback that we've gotten is about that forgotten call bullet point. And, we'll be honest with you guys, a lot of the security portfolios at your institutions have been rising because of, this liquid environment we're in. But one thing, we kind of hear back from some of our members is even though that you guys have a lot more securities, you still prefer the letter of credit just because of how, much easier and cleaner it is rather than pledging securities.
Yeah, and there's that forgotten call. That is the biggest hurrying and scrambling to try to find another security. Does letters of credit really, right now, it's just boosted earnings, right? Kind of trying to save operational efficiencies, plus there's more hard costs associated with the fees of pledging and releasing the securities, and then again, the operational costs of monitoring and processing all those. With a letter of credit, you can monetize on your loans and use that as collateral versus having to hurry and buy a security, so that's another big benefit. Allow you to wait for other opportunities to come up and higher yielding, hopefully loans. I think we're seeing loans pick up here in the fourth quarter, so loan demand should be strong, I hope. And this is a tool we'd be happy to run for you. It's the letter of credit utilization strategy tool. Right now, it shows basically where the letters of credit are collateralized. So we get that snapshot at the top. And then we go into detail about improving liquidity position, boost earnings. And that's really where it comes in right now, is the boost of earnings. I'll repeat several times. So utilizing excess collateral just shows you what you have outstanding, lets you know where you're at, securities pledged, whatnot. Go to the next slide. And then on the boost of or liquidity enhancement, again, not really necessary in this environment. Majority of our members have ample liquidity, but this is just something good to know for future, and we'd be happy to run it. The key one right now is the boost in earnings. Now, right now, this one's showing that loan demand over the last 2-3 years, or pre-pandemic, loan demand was very abundant. There were loans out there for everyone, and things quickly changed. So this is it was developed to roll, say, instead of purchasing securities, you would roll them in to reallocate that capital toward a loan at a higher yielding yield, which would be a no-brainer, but unfortunately in this environment that doesn't. However, right now we're using this tool to go ahead and see, okay, if you can purchase the yield on an eligible security versus the yield on an ineligible security, and compare the differences there and see where the letter of credit stands out. Give you some more flexibility, and it'll give you your net interest margin, return on average assets, and your ROE based on just moving that little bit. So one thing this does not include is the expenses associated with pledging and releasing securities, those operating fees and fees that I discussed earlier, which can be substantial. And it also doesn't illustrate the dividend impact. That lowers the fee of using letter of credit, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
For sure, and one thing I kind of want to mention too is, this tool, along with all of our other tools, every single one of our members, is completely different. So this is just kind of a general rundown. We just want to let you guys know, we do have this tool available to you. One of your perks of being a member of the Federal Home Loan Bank. So, please reach out, to us if you would like to see this tool and see if you guys would be able to boost your earnings by using a letter of credit.
Yep, and the cost and flexibility of letter of credit, it's 12.5 basis points, minimum of $125. And so example would be a $100,000 letter of credit issued for 1 year would be $125. The fee is charged on the date the letter of credit is issued. And if it is greater than $5 million, you can elect to have the fee taken out quarterly. So that would be the only exception. And on cancellations of letters of credit, you can cancel the letter at any time. You'd have your beneficiary. All parties have to be aware of the cancellation, so we'd need a signature on that cancellation from the beneficiary and yourself, allowing us to cancel it, and you'd be refunded a prorated fee over what was charged. And that $125 minimum still comes into play, so.
Yep, and you can, also, find our fee information and that cancellation form if you guys ever did need to cancel a letter of credit. All that can be found out on our members only.
Yeah, and that's
website.
easy. We haven't had any members really or beneficiaries squawk that. Say you needed to lower, because benefit of letter of credit, it's a set amount. You kind of set it and forget it. If you wanted to roll in, say they withdrew a large amount of their deposits, then you could go ahead and cancel the letter, renew it for a smaller amount.
Yep, that way you're not wasting all that extra collateral.
Yep, extra collateral and fee.
All right, and on to the next one here is just some tools that are essential or required to issuing a letter of credit. That first one you can see there is the letter of credit agreement form. That is a one-time form that you guys have to sign. That's very similar to your credit resolution and credit authorization. Sign it one time, you guys are good to go, for the rest of forever, I guess, unless you wanted to add or take someone off, and you would have to re-sign that and send that back in. And that standby irrevocable letter of credit application, that is something that you would send in each time you do issue a letter of credit. And then a couple of things here, again, members only is a very key tool for letters of credit, as you will always see your actual letter of credit out on that website, as well as the fee tickets for the letters of credit. Next, you have the letter of credit system. Kind of got an enhancement back in October 15th, 2020, so just about a year ago, where it allows you to issue letters online through our members-only application or members-only website. And then you also have the option still that traditional PDF form that a lot of you are used to. Another great benefit too, so a secured email will be sent to all of the letter of credit contacts at your institution, as well as the email you provided for your depositor. And then this here, I kind of want to just provide some screenshots for you guys about how you would go about issuing a letter of credit online. And then what you would do is you would just log in to your members-only website like normal. Then you go to that letter of credit tab there, hover over that, click on application. And this is my favorite part about the new process, is how easy this is. And then after you click on the application, it's going to bring you to this screen. All of your beneficiaries that you guys have already issued letters for are going to be in that drop-down box. You would fill that out or select the beneficiary you want. And then the issue date, another great thing that I love about our new online process is you guys are able to go out and issue a letter of credit 5 days in advance. So say a couple of the people you have at your institution are issuing letters of credit, it'll be gone about the same time. One of them can go in and issue a letter of credit 5 days before for the date you want it issued. And then at 9 o'clock that morning, the letter of credit will automatically be issued for you guys, and you and your beneficiary will receive that email. But that's it. That's all you have to do with our online process. It's super, super simple. Select your beneficiary, issue date, expiration date, and then the amount you want, and then hit submit. And then again, as soon as you hit that submit button, it's instantly issued, which we've received a lot of really good feedback from our members about this. So definitely something we're pretty proud of.
And another good point to stress, we kind of touched on, but if you did issue the letter of credit and did a forward settle and say the deposits ran out, part of the deposits ran out before it settles, you can still terminate that letter and reissue a new one, and there'd be no fees charged as long as it was the day before it settled.
Yep, as long as it wasn't actually issued, you guys can go ahead and cancel it without any fee charged.
And you don't need your beneficiary to sign that cancellation because it was never actually issued. So you just contact the lending desk and we'll help you through that.
Yeah. All right, and the next one here, again, a lot of you guys have probably already been doing this for a couple of years here, but it's still, our PDF application is still available to you as well if you prefer to do it that way. That is great. To send the application to that fhlb.lending@fhlbtopeka.com. You can fax it if you want, but I think in today's day and age, email, again, is a lot cleaner, a lot faster, more reliable as well, because we will always respond to your email, letting you know that we got that. As long as it's received before 3:30, it will be issued that same day. Obviously, that 3:30 deadline is kind of flexible, 3:40, something like that. We'll obviously work with you on that to get if you have to be issued that same day.
Yeah, or just give us a call and let us know you're not going to have it in until after, and we'll hold off on processing.
Yep, yeah, just give us a little bit heads up. We love to work with you guys on that.
And one thing we have seen is members that start issuing the letters of credit online, they completely eliminated using the PDF process, mailing us. It's a lot more fields to fill out and a little more cumbersome. So I would highly suggest you try to go out and issue one online if you haven't already done so.
Yeah, and if you guys are kind of nervous about it, doing it the first time, give us a call. We'd love to walk you through it. Then just this screen here, just kind of wanted to show you guys. Well, again, you're probably already familiar with it as you guys have been issuing letters of credit for quite a while now, but this is just our, easy fill PDF form. Again, you guys will just send that out, sign it, and send it in to us, and we get it issued for you.
So as you can see there are a lot more things to fill out than, online.
Yep, yeah, and, again, we do get, kind of busy some days, so we might not be able to do it instantly, when you email it in, like you does online, but we will still get to it, if you email it in before 3:30 the same day. All right, and kind of as we were alluding to earlier in the presentation, we do have a lot of information out on our website about our letters of credit, for, not only for you guys, but your beneficiaries too, because I'm sure you do get a lot of questions from your beneficiaries. We even get some calls from our members' beneficiaries asking, what the benefits are about our letters of credit. You can always direct your, your depositors to that beneficiary video to kind of walk them through. And then as well, there is also a walkthrough video for the new online issuance as well, to kind of walk you guys through that if you're doing it for the first time. And then kind of a quick webinar this time, just because, letters of credit, they are fairly straightforward, but, these are kind of your main contacts for the bank. You have Jeff Steiner, which is the Kansas account manager, then Rusty Davis as Colorado and Western Nebraska. Then myself, Derek Layton, and then Michael Young. You can always feel free to reach out to any of us. We'd love to help you. And as far as for our Nebraska and Oklahoma account managers, we are currently looking for those roles. So for, the members in that state, please feel free to reach out to Michael or I, and we'd love to talk to you guys about letters of credit or really anything, questions you might have with Federal Home Loan Bank.
Yeah, and the best thing you can do is reach out to us. We're trying to do this and address multiple different member situations, and every situation's unique, so don't hesitate to call us, and anyone on that list can run that tool we talked about earlier.
Yeah, and so for that, guys, it looks like we got a couple more minutes here for questions. If you guys do have any questions, please feel free to pop them into that chat box. We would love to answer those for you.
Any questions? All right, so we don't have any questions, but again, that dividend lowers the rate, so let us know if you need help understanding that as well.
Yep, and one last point here too is, these slides, if you do want to pass it on to, other, employees at your institution, these will be made available to you. So that way they can look over them if they like. And then we also are doing another webinar tomorrow at 10 a.m. So they can also join that too if they missed the one today.
Good deal with that. Let you all get back to your busy days. And look forward to talking to you.
Yeah, we appreciate it, guys. Thank you for joining us today.